afternoon, friends, and welcome to Feed Ontario's 30th anniversary thank you event. My name is Meghan Nicholls. I'm the chair of the board for Feed Ontario and the CEO of the Mississauga Food Bank. I'm honored to be your MC for this very special occasion this afternoon. We're delighted that you, all of our amazing supporters, are joining us today as we acknowledge another truly incredible year where your support enabled our work to end hunger and poverty in Ontario. I also want to say a special thank you to the Chicken Farmers of Ontario for generously sponsoring today's event. Now, over the course of the last year, Feed Ontario has been marking our 30th anniversary. And thanks to amazing supporters just like you, Ontario's food bank network has achieved many incredible things over the last 30 years. From the creation of essential partnerships in transportation and fresh food procurement, to our leadership role in advocacy, including affordable housing benefits and farm tax credits, to pioneering innovative programs like SNAP and Link to Feed that ensure efficiency, equity, and valuable data for our research and advocacy work. But today isn't a celebration. When food banks first began in the early 80s, they were meant to be temporary. We definitely weren't expecting to still be here 40 years later, which is why, as long as food banks are still needed, we can't fully celebrate. So today is an uncelebration, if you will, where we'll recognize the many incredible achievements and progress that we make together in our work to end hunger and poverty in Ontario, and reaffirm our commitment to creating a province where no one needs a food bank. But before we get into the meat of the event, and I did intend that pun, we'd like to share a quick message from today's sponsors, the Chicken Farmers of Ontario.
I'm Andrea Velthusen, the chair of the CFO Cares Farmers to Food Banks Working Group and a board director of Chicken Farmers of Ontario. I farm with my family in Waynfleet, which is in Niagara area. I want to begin by thanking Feed Ontario and all the food bank staff and volunteers here today. As chicken farmers, when we donate fresh, nutritious, locally grown chicken, we know that it requires your help to sort it, portion it, and then to distribute it to the people that need it the most. So without you, the dedicated staff and volunteers of Feed Ontario, our CFO Cares Farmers to Food Banks program could not exist. Thank you for your continued dedication to ensuring that Ontarians are always able to access food for their families. Chicken Farmers of Ontario represents over 1,300 family-run farms across Ontario. Every day, we're providing Ontarians with nutritious, locally grown chicken, thanks to the continued support of the Ontario chicken farming community. Since 2015, the CFO Cares program has donated over 7 million meals of chicken, and we're not stopping there. We are well on our way to donating another 1 million meals of chicken in 2022. With the support of Feed Ontario, we were able to keep a steady supply of chicken flowing through food banks throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And just a couple months ago, we are proud to be able to quickly respond to the high impact storms that passed through Eastern Ontario. Through the CFO Cares program, we made significant donations to help restock freezers in food banks that had experienced significant spoilage after extended power outages. So today, on behalf of Chicken Farmers of Ontario, I want to congratulate you, your leadership, staff, and those that have helped shape the organization throughout the past 30 years. Tackling food insecurity in our province is no easy feat. As we've learned, there's no one silver bullet to ending hunger, and yet you tirelessly work towards this every day, and we're grateful for that. Thank you to everyone here with us today, and thank you to all the farmers that continue to make the CFO Cares program possible. Congratulations on the past 30 years, and we also look forward to our continued partnership with Feed Ontario to continue to support the people of Ontario. Thanks.
Well, thanks so much to the chicken farmers of Ontario for your incredible support. As you know, Feed Ontario is the province's largest collective of hunger relief organizations. We provide food banks with food and resources and create opportunities and solutions to eradicate hunger and poverty. We do this completely dependent on and with the utmost gratitude for incredible supporters like you. Last year continued to be a year like no other. Once again, the communities and food banks that we serve faced unprecedented challenges. Nearly 600,000 adults, seniors, and children visited a food bank in Ontario more than 3.6 million times last year. That is the largest single year increase since the 2008 recession. But thanks to your generosity, Feed Ontario was able to deliver, are you ready? 8.1 million pounds of nutritious food. That's the equivalent of 6.7 million meals. And half of that was fresh and frozen, including dairy, eggs, meat, fruit, and veggies. And we also invested nearly $600,000 into local food bank capacity and programming through our Feeding Possibility grant program, increasing training and resources for food banks, and we continued our vital research and advocacy for those true solutions to hunger, which is what we all desire. All of this work would not be possible without you. You have been right there with us over the years, ensuring those adults, kids, seniors in all corners of Ontario are receiving the healthy food they need while we continue to work to create solutions that will end the need for food banks in the future. And we are so proud of the work that's been done together. Over the next hour, we're going to hear from food bank visitors, volunteers, and staff who will tell you more about the direct impact your support has made in their community across Ontario. We even have a few surprises up our sleeves. But first, I'm pleased to introduce Kirsten Beardsley, who's the CEO of Food Banks Canada, to say a few words. Over to you, Kirsten.
Hey everyone, and thank you, Megan, for the introduction. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you, all of the food bankers on the line, all of the donors, those who've been around for long and those who are just starting out. I have a distinct pleasure of always being thanked for my services, but I know it's all of you that do the hard work on the ground. So I want to make sure that I thank you. And I want to also communicate to you the significant impact that you have across this country. And I know Feed Ontario knows that as well. Sorry, I'm a little bit emotional that it's a moment to mark 30 years. So I want to honor and celebrate the leadership of Feed Ontario across this province. And I really want to do it justice because I don't want anyone to think that Feed Ontario is anything other than an incredibly exceptional leader and an incredibly exceptional organization. You were the first provincial association in this country to build producer group relationships like we saw with the Chicken Farmers of Ontario. You were the first provincial association to set up standards of care for food banks so that clients get the standard of care that they deserve when they walk through a food bank door. You were the first to consolidate client data collection through Link to Feed, the first to establish food distribution software, the first to develop a northern plan to tackle the significant food insecurity rates in northern regions across the country, among a whole host of other things. You have been leaders in food banking through and through. I also want to honor the dream team at Feed Ontario. I feel every time I get to work with you guys, it's a treat because I know the passion and care you take and you feel towards this mission. And it is such an honor to work alongside you. I also want to recognize that you are always willing to step up and help the other provinces. And that is, you're changing not only food banking in this province, but across this country. And yet, as Megan mentioned, I know that we all wish we were here having a different kind of celebration. One where we finally saw the number of people relying on our services come down, one where we could celebrate social assistance rates that were livable, one that saw deeper and more immediate investments in affordable housing, and one that saw maybe some food banks no longer being needed across this province. So I want to especially honor and celebrate Feed Ontario for your leadership around advocacy. There is no other organization in this country, I think, that takes as seriously its responsibility to the people that you serve to make significant changes and long-term changes. So while the times are tough and the months and years ahead will be tough, of that I have no doubt, I am so honored and I feel incredibly lucky to work alongside all of you to see the changes that we will see and make sure that we have realized our collective vision of Canada where no one goes hungry. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirsten, for those lovely words. Feed Ontario is so proud of our relationship with Food Banks Canada, and we appreciate the support you give us. But thank you for those encouraging words today. Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our first food banker of the day, Hailie Jack from Brockville. So Hailie, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, Megan. Thank you. Thank you for having me on today. Thank you to Feed Ontario and, of course, the Chicken Farmers of Ontario. I am going to speak a little bit about our food bank today, and I was hoping to have a visitor with me, but unfortunately he wasn't able to attend, but I have his permission to share his story, and I think we have a picture I'm hoping will show as I talk about him. So first I'll share a little bit about our food bank. We are in Brockville, Ontario. We're called the Brockville Area Food Bank, and we only have a population of about 24,000 people, but we do serve between 1,100 and 1,500 visitors monthly. So we are very busy. We do groceries, home delivery. We've made partnerships in our community. Our community has really stepped up to try and help us end hunger in our community. So we have an organization delivering to seniors, an organization delivering to families, the local YMCA participating in a snack program, and we have 2 satellite offices to be able to serve our rural guests. We also donate to local shelters and food share with other food banks as they do with us, and our local soup kitchen as well. This year, some months we've seen a 45% increase in people coming through our doors. I am new to food banking, and that number is blowing my mind every day that we are that busy as we go through pandemic recovery. We've turned to fundraising, and we're starting our first fundraising event, increasing our advocacy as it's so essential. Food banks should and are not the answer. Real social changes, as we're celebrating here today, that is truly what we should be celebrating. We are working on develop a resource bank so we can get our visitors more help and more information in their pockets to be able to make differences in their lives. And we have also started a collaboration, a coalition of sorts, where we are getting other nonprofits in our community together to talk about hunger and what services are out there, and recently sent home a summer resource sheet to our students and sent it out to service providers so that people knew where to access food beyond our walls. At our food bank, we've really truly learned how to value friendship and value the unique role that food bankers and food banks have in our visitors' lives. It's unlike a social service I have participated in before, and it is really a place of honor to come in every day and know that we just get to have a friendship. And I will segue into my story about my visitor that we were able to help. His name is Guy, and yes, here's his picture. So here's Guy, my supervisor, Allie, and myself, and we're outside the food bank, and he was very excited to hear that we'd be sharing his story today and gave me permission to use his name and share the details. So I met Guy over a year ago at our food bank as a visitor, and he had come in one day to do a point and count survey with me to track the homelessness in our area through our counties. So I was able to sit with him and talk to him, and he had been homeless at that point for a year, and he was 69. Fast forward a year later, I have had the amazing opportunity to use my past career in nursing at our local shelter and volunteer once a week, just to be an ear for people to listen on and help share my resources that I have and give maybe some support to them. I ran into Guy and offered my ear, and he tells me he's hopeless. He's giving up, and he has decided he will be homeless for the rest of his life and he's not long for this world. I asked him why, and he said the barriers around navigating CRA and his taxes were too much and he couldn't take it anymore. And in that moment, I asked Guy for his trust in the food bank that the food bank over the last 35 years has built in our community. And Guy came the next week on the day that we planned. Sadly, I wasn't there. But I asked Ali to ask Guy the same question. Can you put your trust in me? And he did. And him and Ali walked over to the CRA office. She sat down with him, explained his story, walked the person behind the counter through Guy's story, and they left with the ability to log on to his CRA account, which is a difficult task for anybody, let alone a senior who doesn't understand technology. We printed his taxes and sent him down to the volunteer center that does free taxes in our community. Called them ahead of time and let them know his story, and he dropped them off. Fast forward 2 weeks later, he came in with a big smile on his face. Not only did he receive his taxes, he also got housing. That little bit of hope that day when I asked for his trust, and the 35 years behind me at this food bank and what the food bank does in our community, I like to think had a big piece in him having that amount of hope to be able to go from 2 years being homeless on the street, feeling like that was his future, to having money in his pocket and a roof over his head. He comes in all the time now to celebrate with us and share his continued success. And we're just so happy for him that our friendship and our unique role in his life helped get him to this position. So that is my friend Guy's story, and we're following him super close. We love him very much. So to segue from Guy's story into Feed Ontario, Feed Ontario really embodies breaking down barriers and building connections. And my short time with you, the inspiration you have given to me and the network, the standards and the excitement you create behind those standards to really just have amazing walls and doors in each of our communities. I can't thank you enough for the guidance and the excitement that you give us and the drive that you give us and the collective drive. I feel it's really important to break down silos, especially in Ontario. We seem to have siloed everything, and Feed Ontario, you are doing just that. You're building connections and giving all of us inspiration and bringing us together. You make our lives easier by educational opportunities, but I want to especially say the data collection and the food donations. By making those big barriers easy for us, you give us more time to impact people like Guy. You allow us to really focus on those connections and making a difference and making our day-to-day easier at the food bank by giving us those food donations and helping us with our advocacy and how we can be better for our community. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who supports Feed Ontario, believes in Feed Ontario, and Feed Ontario, thank you for everything that you do for us. We're so excited to continue to grow, and I can't wait to see what the future has. Hopefully we're celebrating something different in a few years. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Hailie, and thank you to Guy as well for being willing to share a little bit, or at least give you permission to share a little bit about his life with us. I'm always so moved to hear the ways that food bankers go above and beyond, and you certainly did that, Hailie, to check in on folks and make sure that they're supported. So thank you. Well, magic, complete topic change. Magic can be defined as a technique for bringing about change in the physical world through the force of one's will. It is apparent through everything we've shared today that the force of your will and your willingness to support Feed Ontario and food bankers like Hailie across the province has been nothing short of magical. You are all extraordinary, and our team at Feed Ontario, together with food bankers from across the province, are incredibly grateful. So with that, I am thrilled to present Shaun Ferguson. Shaun, over to you.
Hello there. Thank you so much, Megan. I noticed we're a little out of focus, but there we go. That's a little better. Hopefully everyone can hear me and can see me. Thank you for that amazing introduction, by the way. I was kind of struggling with how I could weave magic into this meeting today, and this is only my second ever virtual performance, so I apologize if there's any technical issues, but I want to get right into it. Let's get into some magic. I am going to need some volunteers throughout my little performance today, and I do need somebody right off the bat to help me out with a classic card trick. So maybe somebody on our back end there can get me set up with a volunteer. In the meantime, I will stall with some fancy card moves here. I just need a volunteer to pick a card and to give me a magic word for today. So I see in the chat there, pop your name into the chat if you'd like to help me out today.
Hi.
We have Audrey, is that right?
That's right. It's Audrey.
Hi, Audrey. How are you?
I'm okay. I apologize. It's pretty loud here at the CNE.
No worries. Oh, you're at the CNE. Fun.
I am.
Fun. I can hear you just fine. Can you see the cards?
Yes, they're beautiful cards.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What I need you to do is I'll go through, you name a card. Doesn't really matter which one we pick, but anyone you see that you like, you let me know. That's one we'll use.
2 of spades.
The 2 of spades right there. Perfect. And Audrey, if you were here, I would have you sign your name on this card. But because you're not, and because I don't want you to think maybe I scoured through the other participants today and wrote some other names on the card, I need from you a magic word. Any word that'll fit on this card. I'll write it on here. That way we know this is the only 2 of spades like it in the deck. So what is our magic word going to be for today?
Cow.
Cow, okay. Keeping with the food theme. I love it. We've got cow. Love it. All right, Audrey, that is your card, the 2 of spades. That is the only one like it in the deck. And we're going to give these cards a little mix like this. Now, normally a magician would find your card, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do today using your magic word, cow. Check this out. All it takes is a snap and cow. We say the magic word. That should bring your card right to the top of the deck, which is impressive the first time, but is even better the second time. Check this out. If we move it down towards the bottom there, and we just give it a snap and use that magic word cow, that should bring your 2 of spades right back to the top of the deck. We'll take it a step further. I'm going to shuffle it in there, and I am going to need your help again. I'm going to run my thumb up the side of the deck like this, and anywhere you'd like, you say stop. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go. Now I realize there might be a bit of a delay, but I'll try and stop it as soon as you say stop.
Stop.
Right there. Perfect. You stop me at this card right here, which happens to be that's the 2 of spades, which is cow. That's a great choice. Great place to stop me. And here's the best part. Even if you did stop at a different card, let's say, for example, you had stopped me at the 8 of spades. Audrey, all we'd have to do is take that card, give it a little rub, say that magic word cow, and there it is. Look at that. Now that's
Look at that.
Thank you.
You're good.
Let's have a round of applause for Audrey. Either a virtual emoji clap or a real one if you'd like. And we're gonna, Feed Ontario is helping so many people, and sometimes I get asked if I have any special helpers or a lovely assistant. I do have one. He's usually kind of more of a secret hidden assistant, but I thought I would introduce you to him today. This is him right here. I don't know if you can see that. Do you guys know what that is? It looks like a plunger. It is a tiny magic plunger. I'll show you what it can do. This thing is going to blow your minds. Watch this. Here we go. Look at that. No wires, no glue, no magnets. It's magic. Or it's suction. It's suction. You probably know about suction. That's not that exciting. But this plunger is very smart and very strong. I want to show you what he can do. And Audrey, we've got you still on the line here. So let's have you help me out one more time. I need you to name a number let's go between 5 and 10. And you can say it out loud.
7.
7, perfect. All you have to do is tell the plunger 7.
Plunger, 7.
Perfect. I love it. It sounds a little silly, but now he knows your number. Now he goes to work. Watch this. The plunger has picked up some cards.
Just like you asked him for. Oh, I think I've lost. Hang on.
I may have lost my my sound. Can you guys still hear
No.
me okay?
I can hear you.
Ooh, I can, of course, audio issues the day of, right? Let me just,
We can still hear you. You're good. Now we lost you.
We still can't hear you yet, Shaun.
how about now?
Now we can.
Now.
Okay, sorry about that. I think we're all good now.
Yep, all good. Thank you.
Okay, I'll tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. Audrey, 7 is kind of easy for the plunger. So we're going to make it a little more difficult. How about a number between 10 and 20? And you can say it out loud.
16.
16. All you have to do, tell the plunger 16.
Plunger. 16.
Perfect. Now he knows your number. Now he goes to work. Watch this. Just like that. That plunger has picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 cards, just like you asked him for.
It's a
Now,
pretty
tell you what,
smart plunger.
He's very smart, and he's great with numbers, but he's even better with individual cards. I'll show you what he can do. I'm gonna just start dropping cards here. Audrey, wherever you'd like, just say stop.
Stop.
Right there. Okay. Do you want the card I just dealt or the one I'm about to deal?
The one you're about to deal.
This one right here. Okay. I'm not going to look. I will look away. I promise I have no extra monitors or anything. Can you see that card? Don't say it, but can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Everybody remember that card? That is going to go right there for a moment while we gather up the deck. We'll place that right into the middle there and we'll give him a little mix. We'll do a fancy one here for you. One-handed cut. With the left hand, twice as difficult because I'm right-handed. Ooh, there we go. And it's going to be up to the plunger to now find your card, Audrey. He didn't see the card. I don't think he was looking anyways. But luckily he is a mind-reading plunger. So all you have to do is think of your card. He's going to look into the webcam. He's going to read your mind over the internet, which is very difficult. Just think of your card. And then he's going to tell me what your card is. Okay. Audrey, he says he has no idea what your card is, but he thinks he knows where it is. Watch this. Right here, about halfway down in the deck, he stopped at one card. What was your card, Audrey?
Ace of spades.
Sorry?
Was the ace.
The ace? Did it look like this one right here?
Yes.
The ace of clubs?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. The tiny magic plunger. What's that? He wants you to clap for him, he says. He's got a bit of an ego. Thank you. Let's try something else here. I am gonna need some other volunteers. Maybe we can grab 2 other helpers for this one. Audrey, thank you so much for helping me out. We'll if we can't get anybody else, we'll get you. But if we can get 2 other participants, that would be wonderful. I see you can use the raise your hand button if you'd like to help me out. I do need somebody that has a good imagination. If you have a good imagination, you'll appreciate this one. This is fun. And if we can't get anybody, we'll use some of our panelists maybe because I know they're here. We have Maureen. Awesome. Maureen, thank you so much. And a Matt? Or is that just, we have a Matt, one of several. And Nicholas. We've got a few people. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I can't. Are you there?
Yes.
Do we have? Oh, there we go. We've got Nicholas. Okay, Nicholas. And who's our other volunteer? Nicholas and Maureen. Okay, Nicholas and Maureen. Hopefully you can hear me. You can see this. here's what we're going to do. This is a card trick that takes place entirely in your imagination. And I'm going to let Maureen choose first. Should we use the red pile or the blue pile? You decide which one.
Red.
The red pile. Okay. I'd like you to imagine that we have the four queens here, the queen of clubs, the queen of hearts, the queen of spades, and the queen of diamonds. And I'd like you to just think of one of those queens for me, just in your head. And let me know when you've got one. Don't say what it is, but just let me know when you've got one.
Got one.
Got one. Perfect. Nicholas, you are stuck with the blue pile today. I'd like you to also imagine that we've got the four queens here. I'd also like you to think of one of them. The only thing is, this can get a little confusing if you guys are thinking of the same queen, and I don't want that. So, Maureen, I'm just going to check with you for a second. Are you thinking of one of the black queens or one of the red queens?
Red.
One of the red. So, Nicholas, can you think of one of the black queens? That way we won't get any mix up there.
Yeah.
And that would be, you've got one in mind?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to snap my fingers. The cards that you two are thinking of are going to reveal themselves and they're going to switch piles. And you'll see the whole thing happen right about here. Watch close. Don't blink because you might miss it. Here we go. There it goes. And there goes the other one. Did you see it?
Nope.
Bit too fast.
No. Well, if you were using your imagination, you might have seen it happen. If not, that's okay. That's okay. But if you missed it, I can prove it. Nicholas, which queen were you thinking of?
The queen of spades.
The queen of spades. Over here in the blue pile, there is one face-up card. It is the queen of spades. Maureen, which queen were you thinking of?
The queen of hearts.
The queen of hearts. Over here in the red pile, there is one face-up card. It is the queen of hearts. Now, I did say that they would switch piles, which means the queen of hearts would have to come from the blue pile and the queen of spades would have to come from the red pile. It gets even weirder. At the beginning, I said that this whole thing takes place in your imagination. And you guys were thinking of hearts and spades, but what about the other queens that you weren't even thinking of? Look at this. They don't even exist. They are all blank. I think you guys have two very strong imaginations. Give them a big round of applause for helping me out. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was amazing.
Very amazing.
Do we have, how are we doing for time? We got time for one or two more? I hope everyone's enjoying.
We have 5 more minutes, Shaun. So
5
give
more
us your
minutes.
best.
You know what? I got you. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to let you in on a little secret. Magicians cheat sometimes. I don't, that may not be the biggest shocker to a lot of you, but we do cheat. And I'm going to actually let you in on another little secret. Has anybody ever heard of marked cards or a marked deck? If you're unfamiliar, they're cards that have a special hidden marking in the background design. They help gamblers to cheat at poker games, things like that. Magicians sometimes use marked cards as well. And I'm going to show you a trick that uses marked cards. At the very end, I'll actually point out the markings. Now we've got the ace of spades, ace of diamonds, the ace of clubs, and the ace of hearts. If we give them just a shake, all of those aces turn face down except for the ace of spades, which turns face up. If we give them another shake, the ace of spades turns face down, the ace of diamonds turns face up. Just another shake, diamonds turns face down, and clubs turns face up. And the last one, the ace of hearts. Watch this. If I turn the ace of hearts face up and give them just a little wiggle, all of those aces turn face up. Now that's a pretty cool card trick, but the real question is, did anybody notice the markings on the back? Anybody at all? It would be hard to see on probably over webcam, but I'll point them out to you in case you're ever playing cards, you'll know exactly what to look for. So on the back here, this one says ace of hearts, so you know exactly what that one is. Same with the ace of clubs, the ace of diamonds, and the ace of spades. And that is why you never play cards with a magician. We sometimes cheat a little bit, yeah. And I'll tell you what, I've got one more thing to finish off. If we've got a minute, I want to do one more thing. We'll make this a quick one. Big finale here. I am going to need one more volunteer to help me out with this one. Maybe somebody that plays cards that's familiar with cards. Do we have anybody raise your hand or type in the chat if you'd like to help me out?
I can help you out, Shaun.
Oh, okay, lovely, Megan. I want to assure everybody we haven't set anything up. I didn't pay you to help me out or anything like that, correct?
Nope, no payment.
Oh, you're not the Megan then. It's the other Megan then. No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Megan, I need you to name any card at all. There's 52 cards in a deck. I'd like you to name any card at all.
3 of spades.
3 of spades. That's a good one.
Thank you.
I'll be honest. A lot of people don't pick the 3 of spades. I do want to give you a chance. Do you want to change your mind?
No.
No, you're happy with the mind you've got. Okay, Megan, would you be amazed if there was one reversed card in this deck and it was your card, the 3 of spades?
I would accuse you of witchcraft.
Yeah, that would be impressive. I'll be honest. You said 3 of spades.
I did.
Most people, when I ask them to name a card, they'll usually pick one of the aces. I thought you were going to go with one of the aces. You didn't, and that's okay. That is not your fault. That is mine. I picked you, and but that's okay. We'll roll with it. We'll roll with it because here's the thing. I thought you were going to pick one of the aces. You didn't. You said the 3 of spades. These cards are from a different deck. These are from a red back deck, and they also have words on the back. This one here says the. This one says 3. This one says of, and this one says spades right there. Megan, I don't know how the hell you did that. I don't want to know. There you go. Give her a big round of applause.
No, I got nothing. No, you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I want to thank Feed Ontario again for having me back. I hope everyone enjoyed that nice little break. And I'm looking forward to hearing more stories today. So I'll send it back over to you, Megan. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shaun. Now, I had written down here in my notes that I was going to say that was amazing. And I was going to say that no matter what, but I am very amazed that you had that on those cards. So thank you for giving us a bit of a laugh this afternoon. It's always fun to do something a little bit different. So next up, we're going to travel to Eastern Ontario to South Grenville to hear from Bonnie Pidgeon, the Executive Director of the South Grenville Food Bank. Over to you, Bonnie.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to apologize. I have serious technical issues. But as I was getting kicked out for the second time, and probably will get kicked again, I realized that somehow this is part of my speech now. Food bankers and Feed Ontario, we go through a lot of hurdles. Nothing is ever easy and nothing is ever simple. So the first thing I want to say is thank you to Feed Ontario and to Chicken Farmers of Ontario because they help us with our journey. We may get kicked out of the internet, but we keep on coming back. 30 years, you guys have kept on coming back to the table again and again and again with all the great people that are supporting your program. So I'm kind of glad it kicked me out. It reminded me how nothing is easy in food bank world. My name is Bonnie, and I'm the Executive Director of 20 years, and we are celebrating our 20 years this year. We serve a large rural area, Edwardsburg Cardinal, a township of Augusta, and the town of Prescott. And we have 3 food banks that support that. We have a full warehouse, 2 paid staff, and 5 amazing volunteers. Volunteers, as we all know, they're the backbone to all of our organizations, regardless if we're lucky enough to have staff. What amazes me the most and makes me most proud is when COVID hit, our volunteers did not miss a beat. They didn't know if they were going to get sick. There was no plexiglass. There was no formula for, hey, don't worry, you'll never get sick. There was no vaccines. And every single one of our volunteers said, I will be there. I need to be there. I want to be there. I will take the personal risk to feed our families. And to me, that's incredible. One of the volunteers couldn't be here tonight, but she said that she thanked the food bank for volunteering because it gave her purpose. It gave her a reason to wake up. The world was going crazy. Her friends were becoming sick. She's an 80-year-old woman. She didn't know what to do. She did not want to stay in her house like her her grandchildren and her family said, you must stay home, you're fragile. She said, I'm not fragile. I'm going to go to the food bank. And she said, because she had purpose and she was able to give back, she feels very strongly that we were there for her, which is ironic because we couldn't have done it without her. So we were very happy about that. So I want to talk very quickly today about collaboration. COVID kind of taught us again to be collaborative. Feed Ontario has been dealing with hunger for 30 years. That's the true pandemic. And they've been fighting that fight with all of the different food banks. And that has been the pandemic for us, is seeing hunger. But it was a great opportunity for people who never faced any barriers to access food, to actually for the first time have to access food and have barriers. So it was kind of nice that the food banks were able to say, hey, if you need help, we're here. Well, I've never used a food bank before. It's okay. We are a community and we work together. We very immediately popped up a question. We had a food program that did cooking of a meal every week, but they were kicked out of the school because of COVID. Because of that program, we put our heads together because collaboration and relationship building is what Feed Ontario teaches us and what we practice in our standard of care. Right away, we got the Legion involved. We've got King's Kitchen involved. They're the ones that does usually the meals every week, and ourselves. And we did a pop-up mobile kitchen, which we delivered 260 meals every Wednesday in this large rural area. If you were vulnerable or you just needed a meal because you couldn't get out, we were there. People were amazed how we were able to do that. My answer to that is because of the strong relationships we have with Feed Ontario, I think secretly we were all ready to do it. I cannot believe it, how proud I am of all food banks across Ontario, how people collaborated, pivot. I hate that word, but it was the word we used probably 10 times a day during COVID. And I believe it streams right from Feed Ontario and all the great things they do. Some of the other things we were lucky enough to have is there was some funding. Funding is a really weird word in food banks because normally you don't ever get funding. There was some funding available, and one of the programs we did a pilot on was called the Launch for Tools. So we wanted to work with our community, with a local company that was hiring people, an agency called CSE Consulting. And what we did is we worked with them and said, where's the barrier when people start a job? And they said, well, they don't get paid for 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, 4 weeks. How can we help them? And we said, we will partner with you and provide food, lunches, snacks, breakfast items to that new employee for up to a month. And it's usually about $50 a week. And I said, well, we're going to do it through you. And you give us the referral, we'll bring you the food, and then you make it your program. Many people still have a bit of a stigma around food banks. They don't want to use it. They don't want to take food from children. And we just want to build a strong community. And I feel with the chicken farmers of Ontario, I have to tell you, it's the most popular item when it comes down having those chickens. People just love it. But I think, like I said before, Feed Ontario has fostered that, that in all of us. Our culture is because of Feed Ontario. We've been a member of Feed Ontario for 20 years. We are very proud to be a member, and we congratulate them. And I know earlier we said it's not a celebration. Hunger and poverty may not be the celebration, but the people that put their heart, soul, and sweat and tears into making sure that we have these vital services in our community, let's celebrate them because they well deserve it. Thank you so much. And I can't believe they didn't kick me out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. And thank you for sharing the stories about your volunteers and the incredible community collaboration that's been happening in your community. Well, from Eastern Ontario over to the western end of the GTA, I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Executive Director of the Burlington Food Bank, Robin Baily. Robin, over to you.
Thanks, Megan, and thanks to everyone who is here today, and especially to the chicken farmers. Bonnie said it really well in that our guests who receive food from us are the same. They love the chicken, but they also really love it when we receive from the pork farmers, the beef farmers, just across the board as far as the farming community goes. You often see the bumper sticker that says farmers feed cities, and it's so true for us in Burlington, and we truly are appreciative for all those partners of Feed Ontario who get us that much needed great proteins as well as fresh produce, and it really allows us to serve our community. In Burlington, sort of the story that we have is that we're in a really affluent city, and it's one of those cities that people regularly will ask me, do you really need help for people like that are hungry? And surprisingly, the numbers within our city of those who are going hungry or going with without as much food as they really need are staggering. And we're really thankful for Feed Ontario, because when I came in as the executive director 5 years ago, we really had a vision as an organization of the Burlington Food Bank to reach out to more of our city, recognizing that there was a number of small food pantries and things. And one of the things that I readily or really quickly discovered was that what Feed Ontario wants to do is actually network out and beyond, and not just be about the individual food bank that happens to be the member, but they want to see affiliate members. And that's really what we've tried to do over the last 5 years is reach out, branch out, and not necessarily make small clones of ourselves, but allow a number of the smaller agencies within our community, or even equivalent size agencies, to be able to use some of the benefits that Feed Ontario offers, whether it be some of the training that's offered through Feed Ontario, the advocacy work, and even those chicken farmers and milk, dairy, all of the things that we receive regularly. It's just amazing how thankful those smaller agencies are when we deliver it to them, and let them know that it's part of being an affiliate member of Feed Ontario through the work that we do at the Burlington Food Bank. We've gone so far as to now not only try to help them out with a little bit of food, but to have an even bigger vision. And Feed Ontario has really fed that within myself and within our organization, to see the bigger picture and how we might be able to continue to serve beyond. When I first started, we were serving, I think when I looked at the stats, about 12 families a day. And we've expanded well beyond that when you start to see what the reach is. And a lot of that comes from the incredible staff at Feed Ontario, those that I've gotten to know personally over the years. And just hearing the story and their passion inspires that passion in each one of us as food bankers, that we want to see how far that reach can go. It would be amazing, as many people have said today, that there wasn't any hunger. But we recognize that it's not going away as numbers continue to increase. And so we really want to make sure we're doing our best to reaching those, erasing some of that stigma, and allowing those who really need the help of the food banks throughout our network, that they're able to reach out, receive that help, and be able to do far more than what they ever thought possible. The stories of people who, when they got a little bit of food, they got a lot more courage and were able to find work, or were able to sort of progress in their lives, are the ones that I go home with on a regular basis. I always tell people that's probably the greatest reward that you get of being in the food bank world, is most nights you go home knowing that you had some significant impact on someone's life, that they were able to have a much better day today than they did yesterday. So again, thanks so much to all those who are donors out there. Recognize that those of us within the food bank world are truly grateful and truly thankful for all that you do. And to the staff and volunteers at Feed Ontario, thanks so much for all that you've done and continue to do for the network.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story and for all the great work that's being done in Burlington. Now, unfortunately, our next guest couldn't make it to us live, but we have a pre-recorded video to share with you from Heather Williamson of Community Care of West Niagara.
Hi everyone, my name is Heather Williamson and I am the Outreach and Support Facilitator for Community Care of West Niagara. We are a food bank serving all of Lincoln with 2 locations, one in Beamsville, Ontario and one in Vineland, Ontario. We offer over 30 different programs, services, and referrals to the low-income individuals and families living in Lincoln who are registered as clients, whether it be accessing our food room services or support with housing retention and matters relating. We really try to ensure that our clients have a fulsome service experience that assists them on their journey to self-sufficiency. Our vision is to grow our community beyond hunger, and as a direct member of Feed Ontario, we are able to not only ensure the highest quality of service delivery to our clients, but we also gain access to very many valuable information and resources, as I'm sure you all are aware, that truly help make our vision a reality and bring it to life. This year, CCWN is also honoring a major milestone as we approach 55 years in the community. We are so grateful for the support of Feed Ontario, and I just want to congratulate the entire team for 30 years of taking action and working to end hunger in our province. From the entire team at CCWN, thank you, Feed Ontario. CCWN receives countless testimonials throughout the year from individuals and families we have supported. As we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic was hard on everybody, especially our clients. In response to the increase in need, CCWN opened a second location that aided in accessibility to services for our clients and expanded our reach to those in need. Today, I will read an anonymous client story that highlights their journey and experience with CCWN, specifically in regards to our second location in the COVID-19 pandemic. On a Tuesday afternoon, a CCWN client arrived to access the free shelf services at the Vineland location. Due to circumstances outside of CCWN's control, the client's transportation was delayed. As a result of this delay, the client was presented with the opportunity to socialize with CCWN staff and connect while they waited. Once the client's transportation had arrived, they turned to the staff and thanked them graciously for the conversation, stating that they suffer with mental illness and having had this moment of connection was very powerful to them. Not only is the Vineland location a place to access services, but it is also a beacon of support for those experiencing isolation and loneliness. It is these instances that highlight the importance of CCWN and organizations and agencies alike, and how small exchanges can have lasting impacts. I just want to thank everybody for their time, letting me speak today and hear from CCWN and get to know us. Again, I want to thank the entire team at Feed Ontario. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
It's another great example of what you, our supporters, are helping to create across our network, across our province of Ontario. So thank you, Heather. Now, unfortunately, due to some personal reasons, our final speaker, Michael Wright from the Renfrew Food Bank, couldn't make it today. But we'd nonetheless like to thank and recognize all the work being done in Renfrew County and right across the province to help provide food to local communities. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you for listening and for learning a little bit about what food banks are doing across the province and to hear a little bit more about the impact that you've made. And so keep an eye out for get a little gifty from us if you haven't received it yet. And keep your eye out also if you'd like to share this with somebody else, or if there was somebody else from your team who perhaps wasn't able to make it today. A recording of our time together will be available on YouTube in the next few days. Now, we'd like to take a few minutes and open up the floor for questions for any of our speakers. So please go ahead. If you have a question you'd like to ask, you can put them in the chat or use the Q&A function at the bottom of our screen, and we'll be glad to get those questions answered for you. Thank you again, everybody, today for joining us, and thank you sincerely for your contributions and for the way you're impacting the lives of our hungry neighbors across the province to ensure that they have food to eat now and that no one needs to use a food bank in the future. Have a great afternoon, and we look forward to answering your questions.